Thank you for listening to this Podcast One production. Available on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.
There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers. A dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends. A place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view. But when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. It's 2020 and you're tuned in to the best in paranormal talk radio now in our 14th year on the air. Right, I got that right this time, right?
You did, yes. Yeah, you got
this is it? This would be our year 14?
This is year 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
How the hell is that even possible?
I don't know.
I mean, seriously, dude.
I know, right?
14 years.
Yeah.
Hoo-wee.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is.
All right, well, listen, I started off last week talking about my predictions from 2019, fighting for what I believe I got right. 7 out of 10, not bad. Just saying. Here is, are you ready for my 2020 predictions, Tim?
Sure.
First prediction. Ravens win the 2020 Super Bowl.
I'm not totally against that. I believe they will.
North Korea crosses a big line that leads to severe fallout come mid-spring to midsummer.
Really?
Yeah, that's one of mine.
Okay.
Number 3, Ghostbusters Afterlife, the new sequel to the original 2 Ghostbusters movies, I believe is going to earn conservatively 2 to 3 times what the last Ghostbusters reboot movie did.
Really?
2 to 3 times. I'm going on record with that.
Okay.
Number 4, Academy to the Stars is going to release one major bombshell this year that will grab the attention of the world. That's going to happen in 2020.
Okay.
A major bombshell.
Major bombshell. All right.
I don't like doing this next one, Tim. I always feel guilty about these calls.
Sure.
Kirk Douglas finally crosses over.
Oh, no.
That's my prediction for this year.
Okay.
I think he's done mocking me by continually staying alive. And that sounds like I'm wishing him dead. I'm not.
No.
I love the guy to be the first 125-year-old man in history.
Right.
But I think this is the year.
Okay.
This one right here. Kirk Douglas, 2020. The end of the life right there. Number 6, Warner Brothers is going to release a bombshell of their own, Tim. Turns out they have a Mickey Mouse sex tape that they've been sitting on since the late 60s during Mickey's swinger years.
What?
Yeah, rumor has it it's Bugs Bunny dressed up as a female rabbit that seduces him.
Whoa.
Whoa, what the hell is that?
There is a carrot involved.
Number 7. The Minnesota Vikings will only suck a little less than last season. That's my prediction, number 7, Tim. Minnesota Vikings will only suck a little less. Number 8, Tim. Jesus, the Messiah, the Christ of Nazarene, Tim.
Okay.
Refuses to return to Earth until he gets 1 billion likes on Instagram. In the meantime, he begins creating a box opening YouTube video channel that he calls Revelations with Jesus.
No.
Where you can watch him open up different boxes of toys and some food and snacks that he likes to try on camera. Turns out it's going to be a big thing for him, probably even bigger moneymaker than church. I don't know if you heard about this kid who's like 8 years old and just made $26 million on the YouTubes this year, $22 million last year.
You're kidding.
No, so I think Jesus is finally he's like, hey, I can do this.
Well, yeah.
Loaves and fishes. Just for that alone, when it takes out like a really small packing box, like it looks like it would hold only like, a loaf of bread, and he just keeps pulling bread and fishes out of it. Dude, that alone people will tune in for.
Well, yeah, I would.
But prediction number 9.
Okay.
Dave will make a triumphant return to TV in 2020 as a contestant on a new program called Dancing with the Dead. His coach will be Ghost Patrick Swayze. Because live or dead, Tim, let's face it, that cat knows how to dance.
I would think the two of you would make a sexy couple.
Nobody puts Davey in the corner, Tim. Nobody.
That's right.
Number 10. This is the big one, Tim. Mm-hmm. I predict only 3 of my predictions will come true. And if I get more right, I should be tried as a witch and crushed under the world's biggest McRib sandwich.
Oh, what a way to go.
I figured I'm going to control my own narrative.
Yeah.
I'm going out my way.
Yeah.
But, so I'm saying 3. 3 of those predictions definitely going to come true. Mm-hmm. If anything, I'm obviously dealing in black magic because 7 right for 2019. If I get, more than 3 right in 2020, Tim, obviously I'm consorting with the devil. Yeah. So just something to consider.
Yeah, well.
What do you think? You like those?
I like them.
Feel yeah?
Yeah, I'm liking them.
I'm on something or I'm onto something? Which one?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was very non-committal of you.
Well, no, I'm agreeing. I think those are pretty solid. The Mickey Mouse sex tape, take it.
It's about time. Yeah. Listen, they've got to reinfuse the Mouse House with a little controversy because he's just, I think it's time.
Hey, if it worked for Britney and others and Kim Kardashian, it can work for the mouse. Sure.
I thought for sure that the news broke a few days ago when I read online that Pluto was in Uranus this year. Turns out they were just talking about the planetary alignment.
Wow. Well,
whoa, pal! Yeah. What's going on?
Like Charlie Rich used to say, when you get behind closed doors. I'm just saying.
You know what? I do like that song. I'm not going to lie.
It is a good song. It's one of the only good country songs out there. Yeah.
Well, that and Achy Breaky Heart, Tim.
No, Dave.
Don't break my heart.
Dave, no.
My achy breaky heart.
No.
Just don't think you'd understand.
No.
And if you break my heart,
no.
My achy breaky heart.
Bad, Dave.
I might blow up and kill this man. Ooh, ooh.
Bad, Dave.
Heartbeat.
You can't.
Yeah, I wonder if I could meld those two.
You're going to break your uvula doing that. Don't do that.
Don't break my heartbeat. My achy breaky heartbeat. That's what 2020 needed. 2 perfect songs put together in one, Tim.
There's nothing perfect about that. You stop that now.
Billy Ray and Johnson, Tim. That's what I'm saying.
You don't
together.
You stop abusing your Johnson like that.
No, I want my Cyrus and Johnson pushed together, Tim, and I want to create the perfect heartbeat song.
You could sprain your Johnson doing that. You stop. I
could.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound pleasant. I'm going to be honest with you.
No, it isn't.
Johnson. You know what is pleasant though, Tim?
What's that?
The TV show Evil on CBS.
Oh yes.
If folks haven't watched it, what the flip is wrong with you? You listen to this show because you like the strange and the unusual. You tell me, Dave. That's what they say 3 times, Tim, because I usually don't pay attention the first time. Dave. When are we going to get another great show like in X-Files? And it's out there. It exists. If you haven't watched it yet, you owe it to yourself. 2020 is here. It's the year of perfect vision, Tim. And you should take that perfect vision, put it on CBS. Why, you may ask? Because Evil is a seriously damn good show. There are these moments that are going to have you on the edge of your seat. Every episode, there is at least 1 or 2 of those moments. Plus, if you're like me, Tim, you like putting together the puzzle. All the pieces slowly coming together. Mm-hmm. Engaging not just your mind, but your soul, your heart, your dark side coming into perfect concert with your light side. Oh, and they got big, demon-riddled, scary pictures that they're unveiling in this show, Tim.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Katja Herbers plays Kristen Bouchard. Hubba, hubba. That's all I got to say. A forensic psychologist who's hired by a priest in training played by Mike Coulter. Now, together with Asif Manvi, they investigate the Catholic Church's backlog of all of these hidden and unexplained mysteries. They've tapped into the Vatican archives, Tim.
Ooh.
Things like miracles, demonic possession, hauntings, and just about anything in between. And the deeper they get into this mystery, the more they're figuring out, the angrier that it makes the dark side, Tim.
I don't think it's that dark side, Dave.
You're trying to crack the code, Darth Schrader. That's what I hear in my head when I hear dark side, Tim.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Michael Emerson is the perfect villain in the show, too. He is a rival psychologist, and he loves creating some of the nastiest, weirdest situations. And he isn't the kind of villain that stalks around in the shadows, Tim. These guys know who the enemy is. Now they're just trying to find out why. So do like Tim and I, snuggle up together on the big cosmic comfy couch of love. Tune in and check out CBS All Access, CBS.com, or on demand. Watch Evil. It's worth it. You guys are going to love the show. I do. Tim does. We snuggle and enjoy it every week, don't we, Tim?
Oh, yes.
Nothing weird about that. Two friends cuddling on a couch watching creepy TV programming. If that's wrong, I don't want to be right, buddy.
That's right.
All right. It's time now for Supernatural News 2020 edition. Technically, we're kind of wrapping up 2019 because these are stories that came out in the last week here.
Yeah.
So we've got some 2019 tales and some of, I don't know if you've heard about this, Tim, but there are emails. Emails.
Oh, yeah.
I've got emails from listeners.
Right.
Some are shocking, Tim.
Shocking?
Shocking emails. Some are irritating. I got to be honest with you. I'm a little irritated. But I love these people nonetheless.
Irritating? Really?
Yeah. You know, that kind of stuff. I'll deal with them.
Really?
I'll take them to task. Oh, yeah. We got conversations to be had.
Irritating, you say, huh?
I know you love those. You're usually I'm the patient one.
I don't mind some irritating emails. They're kind of entertaining. I like those. Yeah.
I know that's you though. But we're gonna address, and I'm gonna just send these people love and hugs. Speaking of love and hugs, folks, Australia is burning.
Oh yes, yeah.
Before we get into the news, this is like one of the biggest stories. Australia is burning. So right now, I want you to either come back to this part, or if you have time to just do this with us right now, we want to do an intention experiment. So just take a few seconds. Everybody just kind of clear your mind and take a few deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. While you're doing that and getting your breath together, hear my voice. I want you to imagine the country of Australia. And I want you to imagine the blazing fire there being quenched, going out. You see the flames subsiding. You see them going down and getting smaller. You see gray storm clouds rolling in over the country of Australia. I want you to picture that in your mind's eye as they release a deluge of healthy, satisfying rain. Not damaging rain, Tim.
No.
Not destructive rain. Just life-saving rain to save the animals and the good people of Australia, our friends down under. I want you to imagine the skies dark and black, the clouds just roiling over with rain as they just pour down on Australia. Much needed rain. And I want you to see the animals breathing a sigh of relief. I want you to see the families rejoicing as the rain strikes their face and the fires are quenched. I want you to see the smoldering ash left behind and the rebirth and regrowth of a nation, and to see the grass coming up, to see the trees, to see the wildlife, maybe not the creepy spiders and crocodiles, but the rest coming back into full health. Just focus on that right now with us. Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And continually visualize Australia just beautifully blanketed in a comforting swath of rain, quenching those fires, saving lives. Pray to whatever God you believe in, whatever religious icon is important in your life. If you don't have a religious background, send just the intention. Because together, we have over 140,000 downloads of every episode. If 140,000 people can join us right now and put forth these thoughts, I believe that we can make a difference. And remember, not just torrential rains. You've got to see just enough rain to put these fires out as it settles. Maybe to give a good drenching so that the ground is moist and the trees are moist so another fire doesn't begin. But nothing devastating, nothing destructive, just enough to quench these fires and give much needed water to the animals and the properties. And that's all I ask from you. Thank you so much for being a part of that little intention experiment with us. Tim Dennis, it's your time to shine, son. Where are we going in the world of supernatural news this week?
We're going to Graceland, Memphis, Tennessee.
Damn, son, I love me some Graceland. I've been to Graceland, Tim.
I haven't. No,
I have. Yeah. I've been there twice. I might have stolen a rock off of Elvis's front fence, Tim.
What? You can't
maybe
do that.
I might have.
You know what happens when you take a rock from Graceland?
What? I roll it at home. It's my rock and roll. Woo! I just entertained the hell out of myself.
You just Ric Flair wooed.
We're going to be Ric Flair and wooing in a couple of weeks, buddy.
That's right.
On the Jericho cruise. But anyway, okay, right. Go ahead.
It turns out Priscilla Presley has said that she can still feel his spirit at Graceland. She says there's a surreal energy about it.
Oh, boo. Oh, boo.
I think she's felt more than a spirit back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
I don't get it.
Oh, never mind. I'll explain it later. Yes. Elvis's wife, Priscilla Presley, says she still feels his spirit at Graceland in an unearthed interview. This year marked the 42nd year since we lost the king of rock and roll. Elvis has now been dead as long as he was alive. Think about that for a second.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Isn't
He'd be 84 years old today.
Yeah.
84 years old. Frank Sinatra was still recording and releasing albums up till 85.
Yeah.
Just think, what do you think his career would have been like? Would we have seen a Kanye Elvis crossover?
That would have been weird.
Maybe a 1980s Paul McCartney Elvis duet?
That would have been cool. I could see that. But Kanye Elvis would have been weird. I mean, I could see it. Now that I think about it, I could see it. Like Kanye Elvis gospel, like, you know, Kanye's in this gospel thing now, you know? Like Kanye Elvis gospel. I could see it.
Okay.
I'm just saying. You know, like Kanye's doing these Sunday services. You get Kanye, Elvis, Joel Osteen.
Well, that'd be the trifecta.
Yeah, you could do it. I could see it.
Yeah.
So Elvis, if you're out there, because we all know you didn't die, I say you show up at one of these Sunday services, like at Yankee Stadium.
Boo, man, boo.
Yeah. The one they're doing at Yankee Stadium this spring. That'll be my 2020 prediction. Elvis shows up at the Joel Osteen Kanye service. Scares the shit out of all of us.
Something. That's faux show.
That's the only one I got, though. Despite his tragic passing at such a young age, his wife Priscilla has now said she and others still feel his presence at his home in Graceland in Memphis, Tennessee. During interviews on the 40th anniversary of his death 2 years ago, Priscilla spoke over how Graceland was so special to Elvis because he could truly be himself there. Speaking with the Today Show, the now 74-year-old said, "This was home to the highest limits as far as what people consider home. This was our home. A lot went on here. This is where he would come home to." I'm
curious. Let me ask you something real quickly. I don't mean to derail the story.
Sure.
But if Elvis were still alive, do you think that 2 years ago with the hashtag Me Too movement, would there have been a lot of shenanigans up with them revisiting the fact that he was like 24 and Priscilla was 14 when they started,
Yeah.
Do you think that would have made its way back? That would have reared its ugly head? People would have been like, "Oh, Elvis." I mean, it's always been a part of the world, but people seem forgiving of Elvis.
They do, yeah. I mean,
but would they if he was still alive in 2017?
You know, how is it that Elvis got away with it and Jerry Lee Lewis didn't? I mean, keep in mind there's a cousin involved there.
Jerry Lee Lewis, was like a second cousin to Jerry Lee. That's kind of weird.
That is weird, but but Elvis got away with a 14-year-old Priscilla Presley, and nobody thought anything about it.
Well, he was in the military, Tim, and the family let him. So that was kind of weird, too. Billy Ray. Jerry Lee, not to be confused with Billy Ray. Jerry Lee kind of snuck this marriage, from my understanding, past his cousin and married his cousin's daughter, who was young as well. Weird, just weird.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird time.
It is.
I don't know.
Yeah, not our problem.
No.
Anyway, the king's ghost still hanging around the old homestead. Yeah.
So she said this is where after movies or after tours, he would always come here, talking about Graceland. Elvis's wife continued, he couldn't wait to get back to Graceland because behind the gates, this is where he felt comfortable. Behind the gates, he could just be who he was. He didn't have to worry about what he wore or what he looked like or fans stopping him. He could enjoy life. Not that he didn't enjoy all of that, but sometimes you have to. There has to be a place. People go to spas. People go traveling to get away from life and all the demands that are on us. And he had home here. He had Graceland. She added, you'd see him riding horses. You'd see him on the golf carts. He was like a little kid here, just free and relaxed and fun. We would go to the stables every morning and just talk. It was probably one of my favorite times because he'd talk about his concerns. When asked if she felt his presence at Graceland, Priscilla was adamant that this was the case. Priscilla asserted, oh, absolutely, I do feel his spirit is here, yes. It's surreal, but there's an energy here. People who have been here have said that. Graceland is now opened to the public for tours. However, upstairs, where Elvis died in the bathroom, remains private to this day. Elvis is buried at Graceland next to his parents, Vernon and Gladys, and grandmother Minnie, where there is a cenotaph to Jesse Aaron Presley, Elvis's stillborn twin. Fans visiting Graceland get to pay their respects at the end of the tour. Next month marks Elvis's 85th birthday celebration at his Tennessee home. So there you go.
So here's weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. You know, I've been to Graceland twice. I've actually talked to employees, and I've asked, "Hey, haunted?" And a couple of them did quietly tell me that they did feel a presence there, and that they felt like they were never really alone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's pretty cool, right? But here's where it gets strange for me. Do you know what's taking place there? I think it's in April of 2020.
What's that?
Graceland is the home for the I think it's like the 35th anniversary of Twin Peaks. They're having a big convention at Graceland.
Really?
So my thoughts are, Tim, if they're allowing conventions at Graceland, maybe it's time we try to put together a paranormal conference at Graceland.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get a hunka creepy stuff, and we'll do a talk out there. It'd be cool.
With the ultimate ending to the conference.
The Ultimate Warrior is going to be there, Tim?
No, he's dead, Dave.
Oh.
But the ultimate ending to it being a seance to contact Elvis.
I don't think they'd dig that. I think that would be something that they'd tell us nay. To thee I say a hearty nay.
Even if we invited Priscilla along?
I think she would be the one to say nay. Aren't they? Are they Scientologists? Jehovah's Witnesses? There's something. I think they're part of that world.
Are they?
I don't think they dig it. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I believe. I could be wrong. I could be right. I could be black. I could be white. Anger is an energy. Anger is an energy.
Well, I don't think they want Johnny Rotten there either.
Public Image Limited. I dropped that line a week or two ago. Somebody actually wrote to me thanking me that I threw that out there. So
yeah. Yeah.
I'm a musical guy. What can I say, Tim? It's in my heart.
You did it
Try
again. Yeah.
Yeah, can't help it. Part of who I is.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So that's the case. But how weird is that they're going to have the Twin Peaks conference there, Tim?
Bizarre. Why Graceland?
Why are you asking me? I didn't set it up. Why are you putting me under the gun, man? Why are you suddenly turning on the spotlight like I know, Tim?
Because you brought it up. That's why.
That's a good reason. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess. Well, I don't know. I didn't watch the show.
I didn't either. Yeah.
Is Elvis a part of it or something?
I don't know.
One of the characters was all about Elvis.
That got me. I don't
know.
Lynch was too weird for me.
Yeah, I never got Lynch's stuff.
I didn't either.
You know, Sherilyn Fenn.
Wow, yeah, now
she's
you're talking. Yeah.
Cheryl Lee's going to be there. Part 2.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So we got that going for us.
Yeah.
All right. Ebony, what's next, Tim?
Well, we move forward. We'll talk aliens. And singer Andy Bell, he claimed after Maradona, he rejected a sexual opportunity with an alien, and I didn't even know they had parts.
Apparently they do. Here's the thing, though. I found this the interesting part. You get offered sex with an alien. And turn it down. Why would you turn it down? Why do you think, Tim, why would you turn down sex with an alien? And it's not because you're not that kind of girl. I know you are.
Wow. You just called me easy.
Like Sunday morning.
I would say maybe they stankin'. I don't know.
Stankin'? Is that a thing?
Yeah, they stankin'.
No, he didn't want to have sex with the alien, Tim, because he was gay, and I guess it was a female alien offering up her goods.
Really?
Not weird?
That is weird.
Here's the deal. I'm not a gay man. I'm not opposed to gay men, but I'm not a gay man, Tim. And if an alien's like, hey, I might be like, well, when am I going to get a chance to have sex with an alien, male or female?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I'd call my wife and ask permission. I got to guess if we can each have a celebrity.
Yeah.
In our bank, why can't an alien, honey? It's not even a girl alien; it's a guy alien. Can I just
I gotta think there's an automatic hall pass if it's an alien.
If it's alien,
yeah, it's not even human. I mean, why would you even sweat that?
Well, I don't think that's the right answer. It's not human because that doesn't mean I can go out and hump a cow.
Well, like you're going to get jealous over a cow.
You might. Big brown eyes, gentle nature. Just saying.
The loving moos afterwards. I mean, let me read this story here.
Okay.
A few days after football legend Maradona claimed that he was abducted briefly by aliens, Andy Bell, the singer, claimed that he turned down the offer to have sex with an extraterrestrial alien because he was gay. As David pointed out there, Andrew Ivan Bell, popularly known as Andy Bell, the lead singer of the English synth pop duo Erasure, the singer is openly gay, and he had a longtime partner, Paul M. Hickey, who died in 2012. Now the singer has revealed that he has turned down an offer to engage in a sexual encounter with an alien. Andy Bell revealed that he once was paid a visit by a fleet of 1,000 spaceships. Where they found parking, I have no idea. And flying angels, where they found parking was obvious. As the angels met Bell, they asked whether he was interested to engage in a sexual encounter with an extraterrestrial alien. However, the singer apparently rejected the offer as he is gay. Well, good for you. One of the angels asked whether I would like to experience what it would be like to make love to an alien, but I just thought I'm not quite ready for it yet because they are all sexualities all together, all mixed up, and they've got like one tentacle. Oh, there's a tentacle involved, Dave. Why would you turn that down? I mean, I don't know. That's like a whole new kink. I'm just saying. The thing that stopped me from doing it is because I say that I'm gay, and their sexual experience is neither gay nor straight, female nor male. It's all mixed up together. I didn't want to go with a woman. That's just how I am, said Bell.
Maybe he just wanted a little respect.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good on you. Pulling up a little erasure. Yeah.
Is that it? Is that the end of the story?
No, there's more.
Keep going. Just going to get a little soundtrack in the background.
I see. Bell also added that the alien visit was really a wonderful experience. The 55-year-old singer made it clear that he has witnessed UFOs hovering in the skies of London. A few days back, legendary Argentinian footballer Diego Maradona had claimed that he was once abducted by extraterrestrial aliens in a UFO. He also added that he went missing for 3 days after the abduction. While talking to Argentine sports channel TYC Sports, Maradona revealed that he believes in the presence of aliens, and he shared his mind-blowing alien abduction story. Why make things up, huh? He said. Once after a few too many drinks, I went missing from my home for 3 days. They took me. I cannot tell you about it, said Maradona. So there you go.
He just wants a little respect, Tim.
Yeah, the hell do. Yeah, really.
Just a little respect to me.
See there, I think you sprained your Johnson.
I might have. I think I threw something out of whack. Yeah. That's faux show.
Yeah, I think
I don't like when my whack is off, Tim.
No, you never want to whack your off.
Nope, no. I don't want it off. All right, that's a weird story. That's a strange story. I'm not here to judge, but it's a weird story. It's a strange story. I don't know if I mentioned that part.
When you see 1,000 spaceships and a bunch of angels and you get offered sex with a non-gendered alien that has a tentacle, I'm thinking drugs are involved, Dave. Drugs and...
Well, why should I judge them because of tentacles? I've got 2 of them myself.
No, those are testicles, Dave, not tentacles. Testicles.
Oh, yeah. Weird. Okay, weird. So I get taken to task, Tim. Taken to task for a story we shared last week.
Oh, which one's that, Dave?
First of all, I got to listen. I love my listeners around the world and from outer space, Tim.
We have those?
Gay or straight, call me, aliens. I'm up for a little loving.
Wow.
Here's the story, though. Yeah, no, here's the thing. Sometimes, obviously we're kind of goofy and we're smart-ass when we do these shows.
Sure.
Some people can't seem to pick up on our joking or gentle ribbing.
No.
Yeah, KJ writes back in. If you recall, KJ had the dog man encounter.
Okay.
He says, "Hello, Dave." Straight to me, Tim. Doesn't know. Oh, Tim's clean of this. I guess it's just Dave's a dick. So anyway, here it goes. I'm addressing this first part of the email to you only.
Ooh.
Because it's a comment to your reaction to my email about the dog man phenomena. Do I have enough vitriol in my voice as I'm reading this?
I think you could turn it up a little, but you're good. Yeah.
The second part is about several experiences in the ICU. If you're still reading it at that point, that is.
Well, we'll keep reading. Yeah.
Maybe I won't. I don't know. Let me get through this part, Brett.
Okay.
Let me start by pointing out, Dave, that I wasn't sure if I was even going to be bothered to send this email. But a few things you said yesterday, December 28th, remained in the back of my mind and kept nagging at me. So here it goes for whatever it's worth.
Let it loose.
I started my email with the remark that I am not a know-it-all and ended it with the question, what am I missing? This should have made it quite clear that I was looking for answers and not lecturing to people too thick to understand that they were looking at a wolf hybrid. I was indeed missing something. The simple fact that they are running and jumping upright on a regular basis. This sheds a different light on things, Dave. As far as evolution and behavior is concerned, Dave. I'm throwing in the extra Daves because I feel if we were face-to-face, he'd be a little bit more angry at me.
Probably.
It supports my general idea about intelligent hybrids, but also means I'll have to reach the evolution angle a bit more and get back to looking at coy wolves or growlers. I just had to have a fill-in put in my growler right in the back, Tim. Can you see it?
Let me look.
Yeah.
There it is. Yep.
I passed on having the metal or the gold, and I just went with meteorite.
It's a good choice. You don't want people digging around back in your teeth for profit. So meteorite's a good way to go. Yeah.
Right? I figure I'm tuning into interplanetary friends from outer space.
I like it. It's good for reception. Yeah.
Okay, he goes on to say, I don't know how or why you came up with that assumption. Wait, maybe I jumped it. Okay. So pointing out at folks, we're indeed pretty sure that they looked at wolves with a very different movement pattern would have answered my question. Instead, for whatever reason, you felt that the email was written in a hostile tone. Apparently, I'm doing it again, Tim. Painting you guys is too stupid to recognize wolf when you see one. I don't know how or why you came up with that assumption. I can only say this wasn't my intention. Due to that, I was indeed taken aback by your reaction. Oh, God, he's got to be spinning in his seat as I'm reading this story.
He really is, because I don't think he's angry at all, but you really are laying it on thick. Go ahead.
By the way you read and edited the email, and by how you ignored a few valid points by just brushing them over or leaving them out completely.
Okay.
Sometimes I will admit, sometimes I edit it because I don't understand a sentence or a word, or I think you're go read your own letter because there's a bunch of strange words with multiple letters and things that don't always make sense. And as I'm trying to breeze through them, I don't have time to discern what you were trying to say. I'm not picking on you. This happens every day, especially if you're texting me from your phone. Yeah. Spell check. Just a goddamn spell check.
He is a bit of a grammar Nazi.
Yeah.
Just saying.
He says, last week's guest was audibly surprised by the height of the creature. I pointed out that height and length of a standard wolf and how the height would not be unusual at all for a wolf that was standing up. You chose not to comment on this at all, which is cool since it's your show. Your choice, Dave.
You're kind of making him sound a little bit like Michael Keaton right now. Yeah. Like not like Batman Michael Keaton, like Bruce Wayne Michael Keaton, more like Beetlejuice Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of Rowlf the Dog like?
Yeah, no, not Rowlf the Dog. Like kind of Beetlejuice Michael Keaton. But go ahead. You also edited, partially left out my criticism of the description of the Skinwalker Ranch wolf and its eye color. The blue eyes are a simple, impossible observation due to genetics, unless it was actually a wolf-dog hybrid or seriously sick. If glaucomas were the reason for the eye color, the dead tissue that were left after shooting the wolf would have been necrotic flesh or cancerous growths, Dave. Yeah.
See, here's an example. ANND. See, there's sometimes words pop up like that, and it just throws me. And I had hoped to maybe get a feedback of that from you or Tim. Then again, your show, your rules. You got that right, Pally. By the way, KJ, I'm just dicking with you. I'm reading this with a lot of anger and vitriol because it's cathartic for me. I don't really think you're this big a schmuck. Not this big. You choose to leave parts out of this, and while I don't agree with this, I understand why you did it. I'm glad you do, because I don't necessarily understand why I did it either. The thing I seriously took offense with, now, Tim, that was a lot of vitriol in there. Okay. Well, at least the way I read it.
Yeah, very much
all
so,
of that. That isn't even the part he's pissed off about, Tim.
Okay, sure.
Are you ready?
Ready.
I'm going to give you time when I'm done to stop laughing, which he's going to be pissed that I just said that too. The thing I seriously took offense with, or rather the thing that disappointed me, was your reaction to my "I'll wait until you're done laughing." And then, again, here's a word for you, KJ. QUI. I think you meant quip, but you only spelled it QUI. So this is, again, maybe why I self-edit. Some of your sentences may not have been fully formulated. It was meant as a reference to the switch from dogman to poodle. At least that's how I intended it. You chose instead to give GIIVE, me and the other listeners, a piece of your mind by remarking that you will never stop laughing at people who own a poodle. PPPDLE. So, KJ, again, not picking on your spelling, but I'm pointing out some of these points, and you can go back and read your own email. You might see why I edit some of the things, because if I hit that and quickly I'm like, what the hell is a poodle? It doesn't make sense, so I might have skipped some of the words. And I remember your email had a lot of those. Words matter, Dave, especially for someone working on a radio show. I'm sure you're aware of this. Instead of making a general remark about not understanding why folks own poodles, rolling your eyes at folks or something similar, you decided to reference laughing about, which means you decided to poo-poo on these folks in public, making fun of my mom. I'm not amused, Dave. KJ, you're taking shit way too seriously. Making fun of your mom. Dude, I'm joking you. It's a poodle. I got 4 cats and a pit bull named Hans.
My grandparents had poodles. I didn't take offense.
My uncle had poodles. I'm joking with you. Why? Because, listen, I don't care who you are. You can't tell me. Poodles are ugly dogs. They may be sweet. They may be loving. They may be loyal, but they're goofy-looking puppies, right? A miniature poodle, I'm not even sure that's a thing. I think what it is a bunch of socks that got stuck together in the Ultraverse that got lost in your dryer, and they're kind of frayed and freaked out, and the socks have come to life. You think it's a dog. It's just a set of socks, perhaps, that have been given life, Tim.
That could be. It's a good theory.
So KJ's very upset that he thinks I made fun of his mom. Did I ever at one point say, hey, KJ, nice mom, poodle lover?
No, that never came out of your mouth.
I think I'm picking. I kid. I pick on silly stuff from time to time. It's not you specifically. It's not poodles in general. I don't care. I know a lot of. Have a lot of friends that are poodles.
Oh God! And you know what? Poodle?
I feel like you've taken this wrong. So I'd like to call in a special friend of mine who will speak on my behalf.
Okay.
Hey, everybody, Rowlf the Dog here. I just wanted to say I've known Dave a long time, and if there's one thing I know, he is not a doggist. He loves all dogs the same. He'll scratch us under the chin, give us a good belly rubbing, and show us the love and affection we deserve. Did he pick on a poodle? Sure, but who doesn't? Poodles are funny. They got a good sense of humor. Look at their haircuts. Obviously, they're the carrot top of the dog world. They just want attention. So don't take it seriously, KJ. Sit down, relax, lick yourself. That's what I do to calm down. You should try it as well. Dave, you're all right in the dog world. Thanks a lot for being a part of our lives.
Thanks, Rowlf. That was sweet of you.
No problem, buddy.
I mean, when you have an endorsement like that, Tim, when you have an endorsement
sit down and lick yourself.
Well, that's what he does to relax, Tim.
Don't judge me, Dennis. I've seen you try it as well.
And I sprained my neck while doing it.
All right. So he likes to point out at the end of this, he goes, I'm editing here. Let me try not to edit. I'll go back in.
Don't edit.
He goes, you made fun of my mom. I'm not amused. Or actually, you making fun of my mom, comma, capital, not amused. Okay. Especially since you earlier remarked that your family, FSMILY, had adopted one of the most misunderstood breeds. Pits are wonderful companions. Nannies, absolute sweethearts in the hands of a good owner. I got him because he's a bred killer, Tim. I want him to eat the faces off of my enemies.
That's no way to talk about your kids, Dave.
Well, sometimes they're annoying. My dog will be the type that will attack, probably with kisses. You'll be licked to death before anything.
That's true, yeah.
Sadly, there's people out there that have a ton of orejudices, Orejudices. See? Orejudices? Prejudices, I'm pretty sure is what it meant. When it comes to pits, PIITTS, and not be shy about giving you or your kids a piece of their mind. When it comes to comments like, I wouldn't leave my kids alone with that kind of dog, or when they tell you how aggressive and unpredictable the breed is, they are. They are unpredictable and they can be quite goofy, but every dog is. Yeah. I'm not over. I have never owned a pit until now. My daughter has a beautiful pit that I love to death, Oreo. I call her my granddogger. Granddogger?
That's good.
You like that?
Yeah, that's a good name, yeah.
Well, in that case, I hope you will react with more understanding and kindness than you offered my mom. And that you will also, ALSOO, be aware that some people need to understand that most dogs are quite different from whatever your prejudice you always love to point. Oh, he's throwing my words back at me. Well, I'd like to take this moment, Tim, to address Ms. KJ, his mother, Mrs. KJ.
All right.
Mrs. KJ, please accept my humble apology, and I mean this sincerely. I've never meant to pick on you specifically. All right? Obviously, you have enough to deal with having KJ as a son. So you've had your lot in life and the cross to bear already. I would never pick on the poodle in your life. As a matter of fact, I'm a fan of poodles eating noodles. It's one of my favorite Fox and Sox stories, Tim.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Mrs. KJ, please accept my humble apologies. Understand that I am all about love. I'm all about happiness. I'm all for, if you don't like it, can't you just let it pass? And I'm for turning off the lights and turning down the something. So I'm all about you and me tonight. I can't remember all the lyrics from the Hank Williams Jr. song I'm quoting, Tim.
I don't
Much
know.
like KJ's letter, I'm just self-editing, even the great Hank Williams Jr. So, see, you're in good company, KJ. So, Mrs. KJ, I hope that you will accept that apology and understand I'm not picking on you nor your poodle, just your ridiculous son for getting upset about said thing. KJ, here's a hug. I hope you felt it. You've got a story to share. He says, if you purr, still reading, YPU apostrophe RE. I'm going to tell you what, I am going to continue to read, but I'm not going to read your story this week. I'm going to give you a chance to take your story and fix it, because there's a bunch of crazy typing in here, words that don't make sense. And I'm not picking on you. Perhaps you have, and I'm not saying this rudely, perhaps you have a letter, I don't know. I hate to use the word disability, but there are some people that when they write or type, the words look right to them, but they don't come out that right. Maybe just have somebody read it with you. And I'm not being dismissive, I promise. I don't know if, again, is it just fat fingers and you're hammering away on your phone, sending me this email and not noticing the typos? But if you could clean it up a little bit, it'll be a lot easier, and I probably won't edit your story. So I'll read your story from the ICU next week on the show. That's a promise. That's a promise. I will read it next week on the show if you could just send it back into me in a better form. And if you don't want to do that, call in 651-300-4977. 651-300-4977. That's our Voices from Beyond voicemail. We want to hear your story. We do want to hear it. So call in and just tell us your story. And KJ, I hope you understand, again, today was all done in jest. We're just joking around, buddy. We love you. We love all of our listeners. That's all I got to say about that. Tim, where are we going next in the world of supernatural news?
Sure, make KJ call in and make me edit out the swear words.
Hey, KJ, take a deep breath, lick yourself, and have a good day.
Oh, God. We're going to the Australian outback.
Hey, mate.
Where a NASA satellite image shows a revitalized... Is it a Maori man? Maori man? That too.
Maori, I believe.
Maori man. A 17-mile ancient carving in the Australian outback that has baffled scientists since it was discovered just 22 years ago. A new satellite image from NASA shows a rehabilitated Australian landmark. The Maori man is a carving of an ancient human figure that's 2.2 miles long and more than 17 miles around its perimeter. The carving was first discovered by a bush pilot in 1998. Locals began restoring the carving in 2016 after erosion had nearly erased it. NASA released...
Bush pirate?
A bush pirate, yeah.
Boy. All right.
A bush pilot. Pilot.
Not, bush pilot, okay.
No, not pirate. Right. Bush pilot. Bush pirate.
Right? That sounds funny.
It does. We're not
going to take it to its natural conclusion.
That was my nickname in college. NASA released a new image of the infamous Maori man, a enormous geoglyph in the South Australia that puzzled scientists for decades. The image was taken in the operational Land Imager satellite and released by the American Space Agency on Sunday as part of its recurring Image of the Day feature. The Maori man was first discovered in 1998, as we said, by a pilot, not a bush pirate, flying over the arid outback territory north of Adelaide. The man himself is 2.2 miles from head to toe and measures 17 miles around his full perimeter. The landmark covers such a large space it can only be seen in full from the sky, according to a report from Newsweek. The carvings had begun to fade over the years, and by 2016, the Maori man had almost disappeared entirely. This prompted locals from the nearby town of Maori, after which the landmark was named, began an effort to preserve the carvings. They used a construction grader to carve the lines back into the ground at a deeper level than before. This was intended to minimize wind degradation and to trap water that they hope will eventually cause vegetation to grow in the grooves and turn the man green. In the course of restoring the original, the crew also found more than 250 bamboo stakes placed at 30-foot intervals. They speculated these bamboo stakes had been used by the original creator as a guide to mark out the first carvings. Even still, no one knows for certain how the Maori man was first created nor why. In 1999, a year after the carvings were first discovered, a series of anonymous faxes were sent to the local officials pointing to an area near the man's head where a plaque had been left featuring the American flag, Olympic rings, and a quote from a book about Aboriginal hunting practices. A number of people from the region have claimed the whole ordeal was engineered by artist Bardius Goldberg, who is said to have admitted responsibility on his deathbed in 2002. There's currently a $5,000 cash reward for anyone who is able to offer concrete evidence to prove the origin of the carving. The creators of the Maori man remain unknown, but some believe the late South Australian artist Bardius Goldberg is responsible for creating the figure after talking to his friends about the artwork, yet never confirmed it. The 2 miles tall geoglyph, which has a perimeter of 17 miles, is situated on a plateau at Finnis Springs, 60 kilometers west Maori in South Australia, and portrays an indigenous man wielding a boomerang or throwing stick used for hunting. The artwork was reportedly discovered on June 26, 1998 by a Central Air Services pilot, but the site was closed by the SA government 1 month later after native title claimants took legal action. In 2012, the case was settled. The figure faded over time due to natural causes. While it is the second largest geoglyph recorded, its origin remains a mystery. An anonymous press release was sent to media outlets via fax by those believed to have created the figure. They named it Stewart's Giant after the outback explorer John McDouall Stewart. A plaque with an American flag and, as we mentioned, Olympic rings was found 16 feet south of the figure's nose, believed to be buried by the original creators. So there you go.
That's weird.
Yeah, very weird indeed.
All right, where are we off to next, sir?
Next, we talk about full disclosure. You know, every once in a while, especially around presidential elections, we get the old full disclosure promise from a presidential candidate. This time, alien and UFO phenomena will get full disclosure in 2020 if Donald Trump goes. That's the quote that's been put out there. UFO activist Stephen Bassett thinks full disclosure about the presence of extraterrestrials could happen in 2020 if the political situation cools down, and said if Donald Trump had never been elected, we would have already been in a post-disclosure world. A political activist and alien researcher who thinks the U.S. has been hiding the truth about alien activity and UFO sightings has said it is likely full disclosure will happen in 2020. Stephen Bassett, who set up Paradigm Research Group in 1996 to lobby for the extraterrestrial truth embargo to be lifted, exclusively told Daily Star Online that if not for Donald Trump being elected president in 2017, we would already be living in a post-disclosure world. However, he now thinks 2020 would be the year that governments and militaries worldwide will lift the lid on alien visitors, with the U.S. Navy officially designating mysterious sightings as unidentified aerial phenomenon is a good sign. Disclosure is getting very close, he said. In fact, had it not been for the extraordinary events of the last election in the United States, we would already be a couple of years into the post-disclosure world. Speaking to the site before the process to impeach President Trump had started, Stephen said the political situation has made it very difficult for disclosure to happen, but now he had real hope. He added, if we could get this little political problem in the United States resolved and get back to a normal functioning government, though I'm sure it will never be perfect, he said, I think this ET thing and the To the Stars Academy will explode. They have got more stuff to release, but they have been holding it back, and this issue could go wild. This means disclosure could easily happen in 2020, which I really love and will be cool, because what is 2020? Perfect vision, he went on to say. to the Stars Academy, founded by Blink-182 member Tom DeLonge, has previously posted declassified U.S. military videos of what was said to be evidence of UFOs. Stephen, who thinks that aliens have been turning off our nuclear weapons to show us how useless they are, suspects that once the truth embargo is lifted, ETs will engage in full contact with humans. He said this will probably lead to aliens sharing advanced medicine with us, which will save us from the antibiotic crisis. NASA will no longer be forced to cut ISS live feed when shuttle encounters phenomena, he added, which will lead to a golden age of space exploration.
I like it. I like it a lot. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll regroup. I'll try not to offend any poodle owners. We'll be back with more Beyond the Darkness.
Attention true crime lovers, the Hit Reels channel show Copycat Killers is coming to Podcast One with all new episodes. Life imitates art, as the old saying goes, which can sometimes lead to deadly consequences. Copycat Killers tells the stories of people who committed crimes that mimic those that the suspects had seen in films. Be sure to check it out in the brand new feed True Crime, the Reels collection. Copycat Killers will join the feed along with Murder Made Me Famous. Check out new episodes of Copycat Killers every week on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.
Beyond the Darkness.
Welcome back to the show. This is the best in paranormal talk radio. 14 years strong. This is Beyond the Darkness. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. That's Tim Dennis. Darkness on the Edge of Town. Paranormal radio show continues into its 14th year on the air. We want to thank, we're going to just take a few moments here to thank listeners around the world that have followed us along on this journey. Thank you for being a part of our world, helping us realize our dreams, to share our favorite topics and unusual guests with you. Thank you so much. I truly feel like a blessed man for having the ability to do what I do. And I think I can speak for Tim on that as well. This is the dream job of a lifetime, and we thank you all for making it possible. Tim, what do you have to say?
Most definitely. You know, when I think back to 2006, when I think back to starting this radio show and the dreams that we put out there, and you put that intention out there into the universe, and then you think about where we're at to this day, you put it out there and then you think, can you achieve it? And it seems like such a far off goal. And to think of how far we've come since that point, there's no way we could have done it without all of you, and all of you putting your time and your effort to take your valuable time, because your time is very, very, very valuable, to listen to our antics and our shenanigans each and every single week. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you so much for taking that valuable time to spend it with us and to invest in our art and what we do here. We're so grateful for you and taking your time to invest it in us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, we built this on the shoulders of one another, the backs of listeners and radio stations and podcast networks that were willing to give us a shot, and, of course, the blood of the innocent. We thank you all.
What? The blood of the innocent?
Oh, you don't remember that part?
No. Well, when did we do that?
Tim, it's best you don't know, but remember that homemade chili we made that first year in 2006?
Yeah.
We remember when we had to drink it in front of Mr. S. Ayton?
No.
Satan, we made a deal with the devil.
We did?
Yeah, hey, me, it's the devil here. Don't you remember, Tim?
You're Rowlf the Dog.
Allegedly.
Oh, God. Oh, what have I done?
Yeah, it's all right, though. 14 years. Our goal is to make it 14 and a half years. So stick with us on this journey. You never know what could happen next. Remember, we do have some other cool news, some breaking news that'll be coming out probably later on this month, next month. Keep checking darknessradio.com for updates. It's going to be awesome. So, and many of you, all of you, I think are going to be extremely happy with some cool stuff we've got going. Some stuff we got brewing and going and brewing, Tim.
Oh, yes.
Huh? All right, speaking of what have we got next in the world of supernatural news?
Well, a recently retired U.S. Air Force general has made some eyebrows raised, making some claims about some advanced space technology. Interestingly enough, the holidays have just passed, Dave, and you might have had some interesting talks with family. And one of the talks that came up at my family Christmas actually had to do with space technology and the technology that we have now in our hands, like cell phones and stuff like that. We started talking about how things have boomed in the last 150 years. From I know we talk about weird stuff in my family, but we really started getting into the technology talk and how fast things, especially over the last 50 years, how things have accelerated as far as technology goes. But retired Lieutenant General Stephen L. Quast has said that fantastic technology exists that could transport a human anywhere on Earth within an hour, which is amazing and would take the pain out of flying. I'll tell you that much right now. Recently retired U.S. Air Force Lieutenant General Stephen L. Quast gave a lecture last month that seems to further signal that the next major battlefield will be outer space. While military leadership rattling the space sabers is nothing new, Quast's lecture included comments that heavily hint at the possibility that the U.S. military and its industrial partners may have already developed next-generation technologies that have the potential to drastically change the aerospace field and human civilization forever. Is this mere posturing, or could we actually be on the verge of making science fiction a reality? According to the official USAF biography, Lieutenant General Quast graduated from the U.S. Air Force Academy with a degree in astronautical engineering and also holds a master's degree in public policy from Harvard's Kennedy School of Government. Quast previously served as commander of the 47th Operations Group at Laughlin Air Force Base and the 4th Fighter Wing at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. Quast boasts more than 3,300 flight hours in the F-15E, T-6, T-37, T-38, and over 650 combat hours. Lieutenant General Quast most recently served as commander of the Air Education and Training Command at Joint Base San Antonio, but retired in August. According to some reports, Quast was prematurely relieved of his duties at JBSA and blacklisted for promotion after speaking out on space-related issues despite a service-wide gag order. Quast declined to comment on the reports and retired on September 1st of 2019, interestingly enough. Despite the controversy surrounding his removal from his post at AETC, some defense analysts and Lieutenant General Quast's own supporters within the armed forces were suggesting prior to his retirement that he should be appointed as commander of the Pentagon's budding Space Force. Quast has published several op-eds in recent years pushing for the U.S. military to take on a greater role in space in order to ensure an American economic dominance and what he sees as a continued proliferation of American values. Quast delivered a lecture at Hillsdale College in Washington, D.C. on November 20th of 2019 titled The Urgent Need for a U.S. Space Force. Quast's wide-ranging speech described the power of new technologies to revolutionize humankind, referencing the competitive advantage the discovery of fire offered to early humans and the strategic value that nuclear weapons offered 20th century superpowers. When it comes to current revolutionary technologies, Quast says the power of space will change world power forever and that it's up to the United States military to leverage that power. The quote from him goes as follows: as a historian reflecting on the fact that throughout the history of mankind, technology has always changed world power, but the story of rejecting the new and holding and clinging to the paradigms of the past is why no civilization has ever lasted forever, and values are trumped by other values when another civilization figures out a way of finding a competitive advantage. The nature of power, you either have it or your values rule, or you do not have it and you must submit. We see that play out again and again in history, and it's playing out now. As has been common as of late, Lieutenant General Quast cites rapidly growing Chinese military and technological advances as the reason why the United States must invest heavily in new space-based technologies. We can say today we are dominant in space, but the trend lines are what you have to look at, and they will pass us in the next few years. If we do not do something, they will win this race, and then they will put up roadblocks to space, Quast argues, because once you get the high ground, that strategic high ground, it's curtains for anybody trying to get to that high ground behind them. Quast,
curtains? What is this guy, channeling the 1920s gangsters? It's curtains for you, see?
I don't know. I keep thinking of Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting on Mustafar. That's what I keep thinking of when I hear, "I've got the high ground, Anakin." I don't know. I keep thinking of that bad Revenge of the Sith movie. Quast claims that China is already building Navy in space, complete with the space-based equivalents of battleships and destroyers, which are able to maneuver and kill and communicate with dominance. And we, the United States, are not. Quast's speech centers on the thesis that the United States needs a space force in order to counter Chinese advances and win the competition over the economy of the future, and as an extension, who sets the values of the future. Quast went on to say space is the Navy for the 21st century economy, a networked economy that will dominate any linear terrestrial economy in the four engines of growth and dominance that change world power, transportation, information, energy, and manufacturing. Whoever gets to the new market sets the values for that market, and we could either have the market with the values of our Constitution, or we could have the values we see manifest in China. As TheDrive.com previously reported, there have been hints of radical new technologies under development by the military, and just as in Quast's speech, Chinese advances have been cited as the reason why these technologies are needed. China has been rapidly expanding its presence in space in recent years, placing a lander on the far side of the moon in late 2018, in what some say was a push to scout natural resources with which to develop a permanent lunar manufacturing center. China has also been developing mothership aircraft from which to rapidly and unpredictably launch space planes and other payloads into space. The country has also launched several eyebrow-raising satellites in recent years, which some analysts claim could be used in anti-satellite warfare. Beyond all this, they have been investing heavily in a traditional space program that includes many facets of manned and unmanned space technologies that rivals in some ways exceeds our own. Quast argues that the scientists, engineers, historians, and strategists of today have been pushing the U.S. Congress to more heavily and more rapidly fund the Space Force and associated technologies, but there is still some pushback and confusion as to why these are presently needed. Quast ultimately makes the case that the United States must be able to bring kinetic power, non-kinetic power, and informational power to the battlefield cheaper and faster than its adversaries in order to ensure strategic advantage in space. Around the 12-minute mark in the speech, Quast makes the somewhat bizarre claim that the U.S. currently possesses revolutionary technologies that could render current aerospace capabilities obsolete. The technology on the engineering benches today, he said, or is on the benches today, but most Americans and most members of Congress have not had time to really look deeply into what is going on here. But I've had the benefit of 33 years of studying and becoming friends with these scientists. This technology can be built today with technology that is not developmental to deliver any human being from any place on planet Earth to any other place in less than an hour, he went on to say. Quast's comment is only one of several curious comments made by military leadership lately, and they do seem to claim that we could be on the precipice of a great leap in transportation technology. We also don't know exactly where he's coming from on all this, as it is not necessarily the direct wheelhouse of someone who was running the Air Force's training portfolio, although it does have overlaps. Whether or not the revolutionary aerospace technologies Quast mentions have actually been developed is one thing, but Quast's lecture, his recent op-eds, and his supporters make it clear that there is many within the U.S. military and analyst community who have felt that there is a great need to boost investment in American space technologies and the U.S. military's presence in space. That vision is certainly taking root. across the Defense Department. So, Dave, there may be technology out there that can get you from one place to another within an hour. Not only that, but advanced space technology that can change our economy as we know it.
But yet I still can't get my cable to stop lagging.
No, you can't.
Weird.
Yeah.
Very weird. All right, where are we off to next in the world of supernatural news?
We're going to Evansville, Indiana, evidently. We're in Evansville area. Man once had a chilling close encounter with a UFO. That's how many times the U.S. Air Force fielded sightings. 12,618, by the way. That's how many times the U.S. Air Force fielded sightings of unidentified flying objects between 1947 and 1969. Back then, they were toiling through the infamous Project Blue Book, an effort to investigate the scores of UFO sightings that popped up all over America during the Cold War. Military officials dismissed a huge chunk of them, sometimes conjuring ho-hum explanations, such as the time-honored weather balloon, but by the end of the project, more than 700 reports of strange lights or shapes in the sky remained unexplained. This month marks 50 years since the Air Force shuttered the project, with a shrug. According to findings released on December 18th of 1969, the Air Force said none of the sightings represented a threat to national security, and more importantly, none of them had anything to do with aliens. That didn't dissuade the true believers, of course, including the hundreds in the Evansville area who reported sightings of their own. And it certainly didn't change the mind of Norman Massey. The longtime Southern Illinois teacher and basketball coach lived through a chilling close encounters decades before Project Blue Book was even a twinkle in the government's eye. Massey worked in Wayne County schools for almost 40 years. He sold World Book encyclopedias on the side, schlepping hardbound volumes to knowledge-hungry residents all over the tri-state. But if you punch his name into Google today, none of that will come up. Instead, he's become infamous for something he saw when he was only 10 years old. According to an old Courier and Press column by Len Wells that's been pirated and shot into the weirdest corners of the internet, Massey grew up in the tiny town of Mount Erie, Illinois, about 60 miles west of Oakland City. And one morning in June of 1923, he led the family horses into the pasture. As I was closing the gate, I looked back down the field, and there was an object with lights all around it, Massey told Wells. In 1998, the machine was metallic and stood on 3 legs, he said. The top was a dome with holes in it. The best way I could describe the top was it looked like melted glass. When I got within 50 feet of the thing, he realized he wasn't alone. Men milled around the inside of the ship, taking orders from a seated fellow they called the commander. I didn't know what was going on until the end, he told Wells. Then one of the crew members told the commander that the repairs had been made. With that, the ship shot off the ground and zapped across the sky, disappearing forever. Massey told Wells the encounter couldn't have lasted more than 5 minutes, but it haunted him for the rest of his life. Project Blue Book reports are filled with people who beg to remain anonymous. Everyone will think I'm crazy, they'd say. It makes sense. Admitting you've seen something supernatural makes you an instant target for derision. And it hasn't gotten easier since Project Blue Book closed. Just last year, an Evansville woman who reported a UFO sighting to Eyewitness News was awarded with a story in which a reporter slapped on a tinfoil hat and waved around a toy spaceship. But it was probably even more taboo back in 1923, so naturally Massey's parents begged him not to talk about his experience. Keep the metallic ship and the commander to yourself, they said, and he did until 1990. That's when he shared the story with his son, a former colonel in the Air Force. He probably expected to be humored and dismissed, but the story didn't surprise his son at all. He said the Air Force files are full of pictures of UFOs, Massey told Wells. He accepted my story as the truth, and in my own mind and in my own heart, it existed. And I saw it with my own 2 eyes, he went on to say. Wells wrote a column about the sighting after Massey died in 2004 at the age of 91. He knew some people may think Massey was crazy or a liar or some poor naive man who had convinced himself that this ludicrous story was real. After all, sometimes the magic of childhood can harden around a memory and give it an otherworldly sheen that could never exist in reality. But according to Wells, Massey wasn't that kind of guy. I've heard Norman tell this story many times, he wrote, and it was always the same, never embellished from one time to the next. There you go.
That's pretty crazy.
That is.
All right, where are we off to next, good sir?
Well, Dave, there's a ghost-detecting stone that supposedly can tell you if a ghost is nearby, and it's out there for the picking if you're on Amazon. If you need further proof that you can get anything and everything on Amazon, the online megastore is now the place to go for all your ghost hunting necessities. And one vital...
And I want to mention, I do have it in our shop.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this. I grabbed it, I put it in our shop. So if you go to actually right on today's episode, you'll see a link to our shop with all of our cool paranormal swag. Go in there, you're going to find this piece. Whether you think it's nuts or not, it's interesting. So go ahead.
All right. One vital part of your paranormal activity toolkit is a stone that allegedly picks up on ghosts. It's called the Bakatan Reiseki, I believe, Reiseki, which translate roughly as stone that searches for ghosts. And it's made by a Japanese company called the Solid Alliance. For something that apparently possesses such incredible powers, it's remarkably simple. If there is a ghostly presence around, the device changes color. When there's no unusual paranormal activity, it lights up green. When there's an angel present, it turns blue. If a ghost is in the vicinity, it glows red. That's pretty simple. It also has 3 different operating modes: search mode, automatic search mode, and barrier mode. Search mode is a manual mode that lets you check the current area and is activated by pressing a button, while automatic search mode scans the immediate environment every 10 minutes. Barrier mode gets even further, and it claims to protect from spirits, although it's not entirely clear how it does this. If you think it's worth $75.16, you can actually works or not. That's up for debate, but there are certainly some customers who swear it does. I literally got this as a joke, assuming it was on some scheduled program response, but it isn't, wrote one buyer. I live in Virginia, which is steeped in war history, and so far the only time it turned red was the morning after a 3-person murder happened just a few streets down from my house. Look it up. Burke, Virginia, October 2019. 1 woman, 2 males were killed. I played with this for 2 days straight and never got that kind of response. And for the first time it went to red was completely on its own. I freaked out. And when I asked my guides if something was dealing with the murders and did a manual scan, it went to red again. Another review said, "Whoa, this thing really works. My house and car didn't show anything other than green, detecting no spiritual presence. We took it with us to a haunted restaurant and some other known place with paranormal activity and got lots of light blue and dark blue, which is benevolent energy. Brought it back home and things went back to normal, which is green. Haven't come in contact with any red light, which is negative energy. Thankful for that. But this seems consistent and correlates to highly active places." If you want to try it out for yourself, again, Dave mentioned it's on our site, and we'll have the link up in the description of the show, so you can go ahead and try the stone for yourself.
Yeah, go find all the cool paranormal swag. I'm always adding new things, removing old things, keeping it up to date, plus all new books on the paranormal, films, movies, documentaries, true crime books. It's all there. Just go check it out on the link on today's program. All right, Tim, we've got an email.
Okay.
Hey, guys. Once again, going with a nice neutral greeting, he says, I wrote you guys with a couple stories over a year ago. Now I'm writing again, but this message is directed more towards Dave. Sorry, Tim.
That's okay.
I'm writing you, Dave, because of your history as a paranormal researcher. As a reminder for people who would like an idea of where this story is taking place, I am from West Central Pennsylvania, near the Maryland border. I live in Patty Wilson territory. I know you guys had her on your show a few years ago. A few years ago, I was hanging out with the person I did the majority of my ghost hunting with. On this particular night, we weren't even doing anything paranormally related. I was working on doing some astrophotography near Raystown Lake. Michaela, I think that's how you say it, Michaela, was just walking around checking the place out because she had never been there before. After a few minutes, she came running to me, freaking out. While I was trying to pry my arm from her death grip, she told me that she heard footsteps running directly at her. So I grabbed my flashlight and we went looking to see if somebody else was around. There were no other cars in the parking lot, and this was not an area that somebody is just going to walk to. We checked in the restrooms and everywhere else. We thought somebody may be hiding. We found nobody. At this point, we had not even considered it being paranormal. We assumed it was somebody that was messing with us, or even somebody with malicious intent. We returned to where my cameras were because I still wanted to get a few good shots. Before I could even get ready to take any pictures, we both heard footsteps. Knowing that we did a thorough search of the area and nobody else was around, I started to consider if maybe it was something paranormal. I knew that not too long ago, before that, there had been a death in that exact area. A teenager and his buddies were throwing a football around on the hill by the lake when the ball landed in the swimming area, and the boy decided to show off and dive in head first after the ball. This is why I decided to look into the other deaths at the lake, more out of curiosity than actually think it would lead to a paranormal investigation. I found out that there were a surprising number of drownings at the lake, and a considerable amount of them were in this particular area. To be fair, this was a picnic swimming area. Raystown Lake is nearly 30 miles long, so there are several boat launches, campgrounds, and recreation areas along the shoreline. None of them had nearly as many incidents as this particular one. Dave, this is where your experience as a researcher comes in. While I was doing my research, some very odd things started happening. It started off small. My brother and my cousin and I were traveling to watch a high school football game. It was the first round of state playoffs, and there were several teams from our area that we wanted to watch. This would have been right around Thanksgiving. And by this time, in the mountainous areas here in Pennsylvania, it is already frigid. While I was driving to the game, I felt a drop of water land on my hand that was resting on my shift knob. I have no idea why, but as soon as this happened, my brain instantly thought, oh, it's starting to rain, even though I was inside a car, windows up, and it wasn't raining. Then I thought that somebody probably spit while talking and it landed on my hand. Ugh, gross, but not a big deal. A little bit later in the drive, it happened again. I felt a drop of water land on my hand. This time I pointed it out to my brother and cousin. I even showed them the drop on my hand. We all agreed it was weird, but we had no explanation for it. The rest of the night went on without anything else happening. A few days later, I woke up to a wet bed. I know there are many jokes to be made here, but it was like I woke up in a cold sweat. I myself was not sweaty, though. I thought maybe I had a drink on my headboard that I knocked over in my sleep, but I didn't have a cup there. Then I thought that maybe my cat had an accident. He never had that before, but I stuck my hand in the wet spot and smelled it. Thankfully, it wasn't kitty pee. I went downstairs to grab a towel out of the bathroom to do my best to take care of the problem. When I came back upstairs, I felt around my bed, but I could not find the wet spot anymore. Tim, I would just like to take a quick moment to point out just how good I'm being during this story.
Yes, you're being very good. You're being very good.
How proud I am of you not interjecting in what could be easy fodder for both of us.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
I went back upstairs. I felt around my bed, but I could not find the wet spot anymore. So hard to hold back, Tim.
It is, yeah.
I was too tired to give a damn. I crawled back into bed and went to sleep. Later that day, my brother and I were watching TV. He was sitting in the recliner. I was laying on the couch. During a commercial, I sat up to get a drink. When I put my foot on the floor, I put it in a puddle. I looked down to see why the carpet was wet, and there was a puddle of water on the coffee table that was running onto the floor. There were no cups that spilled or leaked onto the table. The water was just there. About a week after that, my brother and I were getting ready to go upstairs, probably to play PS4 or something. We walked through the living room and made it about halfway up the stairs when our mom came walking through, and she asked why the carpet was soaked. I didn't feel like trying to explain everything that had been happening, especially when her biggest fear of me going ghost hunting was that I might bring something home. At this point, I was starting to wonder if this was a sign that I was onto something, that I should keep going, or was it a warning that I needed to stop? I did stop my research, not because I was afraid, but because my ghost hunting buddy moved away abruptly. I decided to take a break from the research, and I would come back to it. Somehow, though, I lost all my research. I had a 1-inch binder full of newspaper articles, maps of drownings and boating accidents, and all sorts of data that I collected. I will randomly get the urge to look through the house and try to find that binder, but I haven't found it in years of trying. And occasionally I still come across puddles of water that have no business being where they are. So, Dave, I have 2 questions for you. Would you take this as a warning or a sign of encouragement that I'm onto something? And in your years of researching, have you had anything similar happen that you would care to share? Well, we did one episode in the Holzer Files. I think it was the Ayers, no, not the Ayers Allen house. Gosh, I can't remember the house off the top of my head. We did a house out on the East Coast, and water would apport. Lottie Peck was the story. This girl was believed to be mentally deficient. I don't know what the proper PC term is, Tim. Mm-hmm. She used to be locked in the attic of the home. She set fire to the door to get herself out and ended up burning to death. Well, water would apport in this house. If they were like having a party and didn't talk to Lottie or acknowledge her, water would begin falling from the ceiling. They did test it. They could find no pipes. There was no reason for this water to appear. So I've heard that. I know our good friend Dr. Barry Taff has talked about water apportation. There have been other deals. A lot of times they believe that's more of perhaps an elemental spirit. You might want to research into elementals. Or maybe it is. Here's the deal. If it's a warning, I think it would be something much more sinister. Maybe this ghost wants his story told. I would put it out there and just say, I will try to help you if that's what it is. But if this is a warning, I need a more definitive line showing me that this is a warning. That would be the way I would handle it personally, and see if you get any other kind of sign. I had that strange encounter during the investigation where when we were investigating the second house on the property, water did start to drip from the ceiling for no apparent reason. I went upstairs, examined it, couldn't find anything to make any sense of why there was water dripping down. So I have seen something, but not to the extent you have. So that's what I have to say about that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Also, I feel like Tim is probably feeling left out. Whatever happened with that lady that said she wanted to spawn little Timians? Maybe I'll email Tim sometime and we can talk about indie wrestling. I'm hoping to make it to Lancaster in March to see you guys. Thanks in advance for any feedback. And Dave, I hope the spelling and punctuation are up to your standards. That comes from our good friend Joshua Fink. Well, Joshua Fink, you did a damn good job. Thank you for your spacing, your punctuation, your spelling. Beautifully eloquent. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, Tim.
Yeah.
Football season's almost over.
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah.
For the Minnesota Vikings, especially. Tomorrow may be for whom the bell tolls.
Yeah.
We are in the playoffs, NFL wild card weekend. We've got a lot of interesting games that are going to be taking place this weekend, including our own Minnesota Vikings against the hated New Orleans Saints.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate the team. I just hate that we always have to face them and we always lose when it comes to this stuff. But Playoffs have arrived. It's wild card weekend. Every play, every possession, folks, is on the line. There's also college football bowl games continuing on with some of the annual's biggest classic games taking place. So you've got to be into it. If you like to bet, you're looking to get a part of this, visit betonline.ag. Don't forget that promo code podcast1 for your 50% sign-up bonuses. betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts. But, Dave, football's almost over. Yeah, but there's still basketball, baseball, hockey, Super Bowl, many things that you can bet on at betonline.ag. They are your online sports book experts. And when you use promo code podcast1, PODCASTONE, you get a 50% sign up bonus. How cool is that? Tim, this may be our last official week to acknowledge the Vikings. We've got some games to pick here. What do you feel? What's our lock? What do we like this week in football picks?
Let's start with the AFC, David. They're playing today. We've got the AFC. Of course, it's wild card weekend this week. And
by the way, folks, the show being produced on Friday, so Tim is making these guesses. It's not like we've watched the game on Saturday and posted this. This is Tim's predictions Friday at 2 p.m. Central, January 3rd. You have the floor, good sir.
All right. So, and I'm interested to see what you think too. So we'll go back and forth for a little bit here. The Buffalo Bills are taking on the Houston Texans. It's in Houston. This one, two tough teams. The Houston Texans have been, although they won their division, they've been back and forth, and they haven't really been the key to consistency. The Bills have been a tough team all year round, and honestly, I see the Buffalo Bills upsetting Houston at home. Houston's not been a great playoff team the last couple of years, and Buffalo has just got a darn solid defense, and they're not great offensively, but I think they're good enough to win and move on to the next round. So I think the Buffalo Bills win in that one. What do you think?
Wouldn't it be great? I know the chances are close to nothing, but wouldn't it be great to see a Buffalo Bills, Minnesota Vikings Super Bowl? Two teams that have never won. Both teams have been there 4 times. Somebody would finally have to win unless there was a tie at halftime and the world opened up and swallowed both teams, Tim.
That would be funny.
That's not out of the question with both of their luck. I got to be honest with you.
I think if God had a sense of humor, that would be the Super Bowl this year. It would be the Buffalo Bills and the Minnesota Vikings, and of course it would end in a tie.
Which you can't do.
Which you can't
end in a tie. Right. So it would become a kickoff at some point because they would just keep playing and playing and playing, and then both kickers would break their legs on the final kicks and still not win the game.
Exactly. That would be the ultimate. But I think the Bills, the Bills beat the Texans in that early game, which that early game, by the way, is 4:35 Eastern, 3:35 Central. So that Saturday game always starts late.
Okay. Let's buzz through these last games. What else do we have?
The late Saturday game is the Tennessee Titans versus the New England Patriots. Mike Vrabel is the head coach of the Titans, former Patriot player, taking on the head coach there. Although the Titans are sneaky good and have a great running game and have an even better quarterback now, everybody seems to think the Titans are going to upset the Patriots. I don't think it happens. I don't think Tom Brady is done yet. I think the Patriots get at least one win this playoff season, and I think the Patriots end up with a win at home. So I think Bills-Patriots win on Saturday. Let's go to the NFC. We'll keep the Vikings game as the early game, but let's save that one for last. Let's go to the late game on Sunday, which is Seattle Seahawks at the Philadelphia Eagles. I tell you, Philly has been winning all year long.
Fly, Eagle, fly!
Well, they've been winning all year long with very little talent. Everybody is injured on that Philadelphia team, including the coach, I'm convinced. And they somehow have found a way to win behind Carson Wentz. I think their winning streak is over, Dave, even though they're at home and they've got a home game. Sorry, Blue Meanie. I know you're listening right now and you're a huge Eagles fan. I love you, brother, but I think your team is done as of this week.
Their time has come and Wentz.
That's a good one.
Woo!
I think Russell Wilson and the Seahawks win this week behind beast mode, and I think Travis Horner, beast mode, and Russell Wilson get it done with the running game and the play action behind Russell Wilson. They go into Philadelphia. Seahawks win that game. Okay, now let's get down to brass tacks with our favorite team, Dave. This is a scary game. The Vikings going into New Orleans. I'll tell you what my heart wants the Vikings to win so bad, but here's the reality of things. Last week, the New Orleans Saints marched into Carolina and absolutely destroyed that team. Not that Carolina's a great team anymore, because they're not. But when you win like 42-10 in Carolina, you're tuned up and ready for the playoffs. And you're talking about a New Orleans team that has multiple weapons on offense and has a devastating defense. And you're talking about a Minnesota team that 2 weeks ago in Green Bay actually at home against Green Bay went belly up, that had to make a statement, that had to beat Green Bay and had to, in order to win their division, and couldn't do it. And then basically took a week off against Chicago and sat their starters. Now, you would think they'd be fresh coming into this game, but we all know Kirk Cousins can't perform in clutch games, and we all know that Mike Zimmer can't game plan for important games. Unfortunately, Dave, I think the Vikings are one and done, and I think the New Orleans Saints move on.
Oh, when them Saints come marching in. Oh, when them Saints come marching in. Oh, how I'll hate to watch our purple get kicked in the balls again.
So your predictions are Bills, Patriots, Saints, Seahawks. That's your four moving on for this weekend.
I can make one great prediction, I think. Right now, folks, I predict tomorrow you're going to love the show. How do I know? Because we recorded it already, and we love the show. Geraldine Sutton Stith, The Rise of the Stith, is with us, Tim. Alien Legacy. We're going to talk about an amazing tale. August 21st, 1955. It's just another hot summer night like so many others in the small community of Kelly, Kentucky, Tim.
Oh, yeah.
Lucky Sutton, along with his family and friends, were just enjoying a quiet, peaceful evening. But Tim, Lucky and his family were about to find out what lurks in the darkness. Visitors that were not from this earth. The night that started off quiet and peaceful ended with gunshots and screams. The hobgoblins were there. You want to check it out. This is a cool story. This is a first-hand family account of the Kelly Hopkinsville UFO alien shootout. Sounds like a video game from the 80s, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. That's tomorrow on the best in Paranormal Talk Radio, Beyond the Darkness. All right, Timothy, where shall we go next in the world of supernatural news?
We're going across the pond to England, where a UFO society claims to be in contact with gods from space. Sounds too good to be true, I know. Like all good tales of discovery, this one begins in a pub, Dave, as it should be. The Golden Lion Pub in Todmorden, in fact, a pretty peaceful West Yorkshire town that brims with stone cottages, rolling countryside, and the pace of life that harks back to simpler times is where we go. This pub is not your average boozer, though. It does things differently since being taken by the local community. The guy in the article says, but I'm not here for that story. I'm here for the monthly Todmorden UFO meetup. Oh, he's going there for the meetup. A couple of dozen people are here, convinced that the truth is out there, but that night's speaker goes beyond flying discs. I said discs, flying discs, Dave.
Nice clarity.
Thank you. And life on Mars, much further. 6 weeks ago, the reporter found himself sitting in the Aetherius Temple in Fulham with Mark Bennett, one of the 9 international directors of the society. Bennett, along with the rest of the society, believes, among other things, that Jesus, Moses, Buddha, Lao Tzu, and St. Peter were all advanced intelligent beings from other planets. Oh, and that the Earth itself is a living goddess being, but more on that shortly. The Aetherius Society was founded by Dr. George King after he claimed that he had been contacted in 1958 by a cosmic master, an advanced extraterrestrial being called Aetherius, and told him that he had been chosen. Prepare yourself, you are to become the voice of an interplanetary parliament, not led by George Clinton, I take it, was the message. In the society, this is known as the command. Dr. King became the primary point of human contact or the cosmic masters until his death in 1997. He was, the society claims, able to raise himself through yoga to such a level that the extraterrestrial beings could communicate through him, sometimes through telepathy, sometimes through direct channeling. The recordings and transcriptions of such messages from a variety of alien intellects are an important part of services held by the society in present times. After the initial contact, further commands followed for King. One said, there will shortly come another among you. He will stand tall among men with a shining countenance. This one will be attired in a single garment of the type now known to you. His shoes will be soft-topped, yet not made of the skin of animals. He will approach the earth's leaders. They will ask of him his credentials, and he will produce these. His magic will be greater than any upon the earth, greater than the combined materialistic might of all the armies. They who will heed not his word shall be removed from the earth. This rock is now holy, and will remain so for as long as the world exists. Go ye forth and spread my word throughout the world, so that all men of pure heart may prepare for his coming. This is the statement that called the society into being. The belief that one day we might live as one with the aliens that inhabit our closest planetary neighbors. Bennett explained, so what it means is that at some point an extraterrestrial being will come to Earth openly, possibly in some kind of vehicle, like we might term a flying saucer. We don't know where or when, but he will come as a cosmic master. He won't be born among us, but it will be obvious to anyone with any sense that he is who he says he is. He will have great psychic powers. He will not age. When it says he will stand tall among men, that's probably literally what he will be. He'll be really tall. There have been stories of them being around 7 foot. He will demonstrate great powers as much as is necessary. From that point onwards, people will continue to break the laws of God, for example, killing each other in warfare, hoarding massive amounts of wealth while others are still starving. That will no longer be allowed to continue. So then what will happen is that he won't go around killing people or threatening them with weapons, but when these people die, they will not reincarnate onto this planet. They will reincarnate onto another younger planet, so that the only people left here will be those who are willing and able to build a new age upon Earth where we don't have war and we don't have poverty. Ultimately, we wouldn't even have disease, although that would be further into the future, to create a heaven on Earth, basically. But as all the ugly...
Ooh, baby, and you know what that's worth. Ooh, baby, it's heaven on Earth.
That's a decent interpretation of Belinda Carlisle.
I'd like to interpret Belinda Carlisle. What?
Sure.
Wait.
Huh?
Dear Darkness Dave, how dare you? Your wife is so beautiful and elegant, and yet you would like to interpret Belinda Carlisle. Shame on you. Your loving fan, Martha.
Well,
hey, if I did interpret her, my lips would be sealed.
Or hers would. Thank you.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Okay.
But as all the ugly souls go to a different planet, isn't that bad? A whole civilization of rogues spinning through the cosmos, the question is asked. Bennett said, those who are reincarnated elsewhere aren't being punished. It's just the only way for them to make it. It's a natural sorting. It's spiritual evolution, survival of the most spiritual. If you're a bit overwhelmed here, none of us are, by the way, that's completely fine. Bennett admits there's a lot to take in. The society combines a belief in extraterrestrial life with a commitment to prayer. It says we'll get to that later on, as well as karmic law, yoga, and environmentalism. They believe the superintelligent beings that inhabit other planets, including those within our own solar system, want to be involved with us, but can't until we reach our higher plane of spiritual evolution, because they believe the planet Earth to be...
Never gonna get it, 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 ooh, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's how I feel about us reaching that spiritual plane so that aliens will visit us, Tim.
Wow, you're kind of trapped in that late 80s, early 90s vibe today, aren't you?
Just today, son? Do you not know who you're talking to?
Because they believe the planet Earth to also be a living conscious being, they think we must evolve ourselves beyond our current primitive state in order to keep living here.
Because this is planet Earth. Da, do, da, ba, da, ba, boo, ba. A little Duran Duran Planet Earth for you, Tim. See, I'm making it all come full circle.
I see that, yeah.
Like a circle in the sand, Tim. Ooh, another Belinda Carlisle reference. Thank you, everybody.
She's going to have to send you royalties, I think. Bennett said that eventually she, the Earth, I guess she's a she, will have to express her true spiritual nature. He continued, if that were to happen, either we'd just all die, well, nearly everyone would die, or the next master will come to Earth to prepare those who have got a chance of making it to raise her vibration sufficiently so that those people will be able to live in harmony with her. Her vibrations have got to go up. We don't match those. We can't live here. Isn't this all just playing to the gallery of comic book fantasy, though? Bennett doesn't think so, and argued that Ethereans follow a faith that is more logical than other religions. The difference between the Ethereal Society and other faiths, plural, is that in all of these other faiths don't explain why, he said. It's almost like God's run out of patience. It's not clear why this should happen, whereas the Ethereal Society, we have the exact explanation, which is that it just spiritually has to. This belief...
A little patience from Guns N' Roses. I'm giving you the background in there because God's run out of patience.
Yeah, I see. This belief that the Earth is a living goddess has led to a strong environmental ethic within the society. Basically, they were fighting to save the planet before it was cool, original eco-warriors. So what is a cosmic master? Well, the society believes them to be superior alien life forms that exist on other planets, but what exactly does that entail? The cosmic master is any extraterrestrial intelligence that is beyond a certain level of evolution, Bennett said. All the other planets in this system are populated entirely by cosmic masters. They have evolved to such a high degree that, for example, they would not age or die. They would, after a few thousand years, change their body, but they could reform their physical structure consciously. They don't.
And paranormal radio show hosts. Just something to think about.
No, yeah.
Just something to think about.
Just something to think about. They don't die like we do. They are, in effect, immortal beings. They have great powers, psychic powers, telekinetic powers, healing powers, and all the kind of psychic abilities you can imagine. They are extremely spiritual and have evolved beyond petty emotion and only do what is best according to karmic law. Which leads us to Operation Prayer Power. There's OPP, Dave.
Yeah, you know me.
You down with OPP? Operation Prayer.
Not anymore. I'm not.
No, you're not anymore. During his time on Earth, Dr. King devised a spiritual battery which contains materials like gold and quartz that he claimed could be used to store and harness prayer energy. That's a big part of what the Ethereal Society does today. Incidentally, as religious affiliations go, it's pretty cheap to be an Ethereus member. It's around $52 per year, for which you receive access to the services and a good few magazines and bits to boot. If you can't afford it or you're just curious, you can always just show up, by the way. Gathered in their temples around the world, the society has many locations and thousands of members. Although Bennett didn't want to go into specifics, the followers recite prayers and mantras in a semicircular arrangement around the battery, while one member just stands next to it, acting as a conduit. Here's another short explainers from the society's YouTube account. Then when a disaster happens or another something terrible strikes, the gathered prayer energy can be released. While there's no specific discussed targeted prayer energy, they can be sent to victims and aid workers involved in earthquakes, landslides, and war zones alike. This all may seem strange. After all, it's a hell of a lot to take in, but in that, Bennett claimed, is the biggest problem that most people have with the whole idea of the society. After all, once you work your way through from the command up through the idea of many of the world's foremost religious figures being aliens, through to the idea of targeting prayer power to a natural disaster via a strange battery-like machine, it's a big ask for anyone, let alone those of us with a lower spiritual understanding, not just to be a little bit skeptical. It comes to us in different ways. Bennett told the reporter that he began to be interested in the society in his teenage years, before attending his first services at around the age of 16. In the intervening 20 or so years, he's risen to become an international director, and that's a fair meteoric rise from interested party to key component. The skepticism, while understandable, is an obvious stumbling block for many on the road to the society, but like all religious societies, a leap of faith is required for full understanding. That is the biggest common misconception, said Bennett, that it's not true, that it's a fantasy, whereas, in fact, it's the exact opposite. It's just that the truth is so elevated that most people can't get their heads around it. So there you go. The Aetherius Society.
The Aetherius Society has spoken.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've got a couple of itchin' twitchin' stories to share before we get to Tim's own nightmare.
Oh, God, yeah.
All right, Tim, where are we going next?
We're going to an Arizona airport where a cigar-shaped UFO appeared to end some bizarre 2019 sightings. A cigar-shaped UFO has been captured hovering over an Arizona airport in the final sighting of 2019. Throughout 2019, scores of tic-tac-shaped UFOs have been captured lurking in the skies, leaving many pondering what exactly they are. A former U.S. intelligence officer told Daily Star Online, many sightings have been documented near disaster-struck locations, connecting them to mega earthquakes. Only months ago, a cigar-shaped craft glowing from the inside was captured hurtling towards, or rather through the Las Vegas sky. And the most recent footage has fueled the ever-burning fire of conspiracy. The clip, which was uploaded by YouTube conspiracists, disclosed screen the Grim Reaper. That's
Grim Reaper.
Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
He spells it REEFAR. Grim Reaper. Was or has been viewed far more than has been reviewed by more than 1,000 people in only a couple of days. In the clip filmed off a cliff on December 28th above Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport in Arizona, a bizarre black object appears to hover over a valley. The clip, which lasts for almost 14 minutes, captured the object seemingly shifting slightly in the air, revealing its bizarre shape. It's been up there since we've been up here. I don't know what the hell it is, the cameraman said. It's not a plane. Scores of people have since flooded in to share their thoughts on the clip. One person said, I wonder what is on the ground that it's hovering over. Another added, this is very strange. I don't know what to make of it. At first, I thought it might be a blimp, but then I realized that blimps don't normally just hover in a spot like this. Very interesting, another included. There you go. That's the end of the story.
Okay, now, folks, fair warning. These next two stories are going to stick with you for a while. You're going to probably want to sleep with pantyhose over your head. That's all I'm saying. All right, Timothy.
Pantyhose, like robbing a bank pantyhose?
Yeah, you'll understand why in just a few moments. Give it to him, Tim. Tell him. Share with him.
Oh, boy, listen to this. A man says that a dying roach left eggs in his ear. The quote is, I heard it die in my head. We go to Florida, Dave. Of course. God, we're headed to Florida soon. Yeah. A Florida man was reportedly struggling with a roach infestation at his apartment earlier in the month when he realized the problem had migrated to his ear canal.
Oh.
It says here, this is my last chance to stop reading before you have to live with this knowledge for the rest of your life. No, I'm going to continue.
Yeah.
The Tallahassee Democrat reports that Blake Collins got himself to a hospital after he realized one of his cockroach nemesis had lodged itself in his ear. He had been battling an influx of German roaches. Oh, those are the worst ones. They just kind of take over your ear canal and don't want to leave.
Jawohl, Herr Kommandant.
At least not until the Allied powers come in to save you.
Right.
Yeah. He'd been battling an influx of German roaches for 3 years, and the problem was now personal. The quote is, I could hear his legs inside me.
Oh, my God, no.
It felt like someone was shoving a Q-tip all the way inside my head. And there was nothing I could do to stop it. He told the paper.
I'm listening.
Once a doctor was able to see him, the emergency room physician used a syringe filled with lidocaine to exterminate the vile creature. The sequence of events that followed are a panic-inducing roller coaster of survival. Are you sitting down, Dave?
Yeah, but I feel like I should stand up.
You ready to white-knuckle this one?
Oh, my God. Go ahead.
Here we go. When he poured the lidocaine in, I could feel him go super, super fast, kicking and trying to dig its way out. And a faint little squeal, and then 2 minutes later, 2 minutes, two very long... No, it wasn't Prince.
Are we sure?
And then 2 minutes later, it just stopped, and he died.
Oh.
Colin said.
Goodbye, cruel world.
And after a few moments of struggle that surely felt like an eternity, Collins claims,
yes,
I heard it die in my head.
The light is so beautiful.
But, Dave, roaches are resilient as hell. And this one...
Wait, what did you call me? Butt Dave?
No.
Why would you do that? That's hurtful.
No,
Tim.
I didn't call you Butt Dave. I said...
What? You just did it again.
No, I said Butt Dave.
Oh, sorry, there was no
comma.
Yeah, okay.
Roaches are resilient as hell, comma.
Huh?
And this one had one last surprise for Collins.
Oh, no.
There's another one, Dave. Another surprise. Dave, are you ready for this? It was a lady roach, Dave.
Oh, was she a sexy lady roach?
Not only is she sexy, she was pregnant.
No.
Yeah, and she laid an egg case, Dave.
No.
Mm-hmm. The man is fortunate the doctor got the egg case out of his ear as well, because things could have gone bad if it would have hatched, Dave. Because
could have gone bad.
Well, if it would have...
What are you saying? I'm saying if it would have hatched what?
Well, because if it would have hatched... technically the thing is known as a Utheca. A German cockroach's egg delivery sac can contain up to 50 individual eggs.
Oh.
That means what, Dave? 50 individual roaches in your ear.
God, I mean, I used to hide my roaches behind my ear, Tim.
Yeah.
In high school, but what the hell?
Miniature Lives, Identifying Insects in Your Home and Garden, explains the hatching process. Are you ready for the hatching process, Dave?
I don't know that I am.
Here's what happens. Here's your worst nightmare. Imagine this happening in your ear. To hatch...
In my ear or rear? Which one did you just say?
Both.
No, thank you.
To hatch, the baby cockroaches must work as a team. They swallow gulps of air, causing their bodies to inflate like tiny balloons. Their rapidly expanding girth pries
away in my cockroach balloon.
Their rapidly expanding girth pries apart the walls of their Utheca, allowing them to escape into the outside world. Needless to say, Collins isn't happy, and he blames the manager of his apartment complex for neglecting to handle his pest control problem after repeated requests. The fact that she let the roach problem go on was neglect, and I have suffered a personal injury, he told the paper. Collins said he and his husband have broken their lease early and moved out. While the roach moving around in his ear may have sounded like a Q-tip, that's one tool the Mayo Clinic specifically warns you to avoid if you find yourself in this situation. Floating the insect out by pouring mineral oil, olive oil, or baby oil into the ear is recommended. But honestly, just get yourself to a hospital and don't drive. We don't need people with roaches in their heads piloting automobiles.
Okay, well, at least we got the horrible one out of the way. There's nothing that could be worse than that. What's next?
Oh, Dave.
What? Tim, what?
That's not the worst that could happen.
What, Tim? What?
No.
Tim, no.
Dave, there's other things that can get in your ear that are far worse.
Oh, my God. Oh, all right, go ahead.
A 9-year-old boy hears a strange buzzing in his ear, Dave.
I don't like where this is going already. I
He's
don't like 9-year-old boys, and I don't like buzzing in their ears.
We go to Connecticut, where that strange buzzing in that 9-year-old's ear was actually a tick embedded in his eardrum.
No, it wasn't.
It's a tick, Dave.
Oh, my God.
3 days after a 9-year-old Connecticut boy started to hear a strange buzzing sound in his ear, his parents took him to a doctor at Yale New Haven Children's Hospital. The boy reported that he had no pain in his ear, no hearing loss, and no ringing, and no signs of... Is it tinnitus or tinnitus? I've heard it both ways.
Tinnitus.
Tinnitus, that's what I thought. But I think a friend of ours called it something else. He said he'd been playing outdoors recently on school days, just having fun. Then the doctor, Eric Waldman, looked into the boy's ear and saw a true vision of horror, Dave. Horror. A brown arachnid burrowing into the epidermal layer of the eardrum and feasting, Dave, on the child's blood.
God, no.
Mm-hmm. The hospital captured an image of the tick lodged on the right tympanic membrane, which was published along with a case study on Wednesday in the New England Journal of Medicine. I'm looking at the picture right now. It is horrific. The tick couldn't be removed at the doctor's office, so the boy was moved to an operating room, Dave. They had to do an operation. Co-author of the report, Otto Larinad... I can't even say this.
I like that name,
Otolaryngologist.
Sure.
Yeah, otolaryngologist. David Castle, I can't even pronounce his name. He probably makes a lot of money. Told CNN that in any kid, removal of a foreign body from an ear is difficult, but especially in this case because the tick's blood-sucking mouth probe was dug in, and pulling out the tick would likely tear the membrane.
Of course it would.
The eardrum essentially acts as part of a pretty complex lever mechanism to allow sound to travel from the outer ear to the inner ear and through the middle ear, where there are ossicles, small bones. Castle told CNN, you need that drum intact to get good sound. Castle was able to remove the tick's feeding structure with a fine hook tool. The boy's eardrum remained intact. Tests a month later revealed the child did not get rashes or fever from the tick. However, the image that I'm looking at of the tick will be embedded in my mind for at least a month, and it will be. There's no way I won't be able to unsee that. That is disgusting.
Oh, my God. Can you almost feel it moving around in your ear canal right now?
No.
Can you feel it? Oh, good God. Oh, ticks, what are they good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. All right, Tim, we have one final story to share. Thankfully, maybe we can clear our mental palate.
The most disgusting story of them all. I keep telling you about the godforsaken AI. Just get rid of it all. Get rid of it all, Dave. When will you people learn? When will you people learn? It's taken over. It's taken over, I tell you.
What you got for me?
People won't listen. I'm hitting my microphone. I'm so PO'd right now.
I could tell.
Oh. Start stocking up your ammunition right now. Call Alex Jones. Get your advice from him. Well, probably not that. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's extreme.
Let me tell you something now here, Dave. Here's the deal. We gotta get shotguns. You gotta get your vitamins. You gotta get your charcoal stuff.
Sounds like Rowlf the Dog.
No, it doesn't. That's my Alex Jones impression there, Dave. We gotta get everything we can to get rid of this AI. It's gonna take over. Oh,
Richard Nixon with laryngitis, to be honest with you.
Maybe, yeah. Now I've just frayed my voice. Hold on a second. I gotta take a sip of something. Good God, I've killed my voice. And I'm a little dizzy. It's creepy is the headline. Unexplained drones are swarming by night over Colorado. Unexplained drones, Dave. It's Skynet.
Those are the worst kind of drones.
Skynet is forming.
Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom.
They come in the night. That was the name of a Ron Jeremy film I watched once. No. They come in the night, drones, lots of them, flying in precise formations over the Colorado and Nebraska prairies. They'll take over our fields first, Dave. They'll choke out our fields first.
Oof.
Then they'll take us over. Who are they? Unknown. Why are they here? Unclear. It says here in the article.
Are we asking the Magic 8 Ball? Those are kind of innocuous answers.
Well, it just says that in the article.
Okay.
It's creepy, said Missy Blackman, who saw 3 drones hovering over her farm in Palisade, Nebraska on a recent evening, including one that lingered right above her house. Why didn't she shoot it out of the GD sky? I have lots of questions of why and what they are, and nobody seems to have any answers, Missy went on to say. Since before Christmas, sheriff's departments in the region have been bombarded with reports of large drones with blinking lights and wingspans up to 6 feet flying over rural towns and open fields. Shoot them down. Shoot them. Shoot them!
So much violence.
I know. The drones have unnerved residents, prompted a federal investigation, and made international news, even though they may have been perfectly legal and still they remained unexplained. They're even taking out aircraft, by the way. I don't know if you've seen this on the news, but they have. In terms of aircraft flying at night and not being identified, this is a first for me personally, said Sheriff James Brueggemann of Perkins County, Nebraska, who has worked in law enforcement for about 28 years and who saw the drones while on patrol on Tuesday night. He said he had heard rumblings about people wanting to shoot down a drone. You're GD right, shoot them down. And had urged residents to report the sightings to law enforcement instead. No. Because by the time you report them, then they've killed your family. Just saying.
Wow, that went dark quick.
Well, I'm just saying. The sheriff says, I think it's kind of a joke, but you have to remember see, you take them for a joke, then they kill you. No, Sheriff, don't tell people that.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have, Tim, the facts of life.
That's right. Well, that's a TV show, Dave. But you have to remember, and this is what the sheriff says. The sheriff's going to be the first one to die. I'm telling you. He says, but you have to remember the part of the country we live in. The sheriff said, people here don't like their privacy to be invaded. Well, they shouldn't. Geez, Sheriff. Well, what is he, Barney Fife?
I think Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane. Cool, let's get them Duke boys.
Telling you. You can't call the sheriff.
Boss, I got some drones. I hear they're using these in all the big cities. Cool, we're going to get them Duke boys.
Can you imagine the Duke boys these days? They'd be chased by drones instead of
they'd be blowing them out of the sky with their explosive
with the arrows. That'd
be
sweet. I would love to. I would be enthralled with that episode. Mm-hmm. The flights have drawn attention just as the FAA last week proposed sweeping new regulations that would require most drones to be identifiable. Ian Greger, who was the only one in this article that makes sense, a spokesman for the FAA, said that the timing of the proposed rule was coincidental, but that the agency has opened an investigation of the sightings in Colorado and Nebraska. Multiple FAA divisions and government agencies are investigating these reports, Mr. Greger said in an email. He declined to discuss the inquiry in detail, but said investigators were trying to determine who was operating the drones and the purpose of the flights. On Facebook, 911 dispatch lines, and local newspaper columns, the drones have been the talk of rural Colorado and Nebraska, and as sightings increase, people in 4 counties said they had seen them on Tuesday. So too does the urgency of residents' questions. Some have suggested that they may be part of a simple mapping operation or a land survey conducted by an oil and gas company, but why would such flights run at night? Senator Cory Gardner, Republican of Colorado, said on social media that he would closely monitor the situation. A newspaper headline in Akron, Colorado, asked, "What's with the drones?" Multiple law enforcement agencies warn residents that shooting a drone out of the sky would be a crime. Yeah, it'd be a crime of passion. That's what it would be. I say go ahead and do it. Well, it's not hate, David. You can't hate a machine.
I think you can.
No.
I used to hate my printer.
It's just a crime of protection, really.
Okay.
They're high enough where you couldn't shoot one anyway, but they're low enough that they're a nuisance, said Don George, who lives near Ray, Colorado, and whose border collie has barked at the drones when they fly over her property. Oh, that's a good Lassie. Now, if Lassie could only jump that high and bite the hell out of it, that'd be nice. Just saying. Ms. George said that she had heard wild speculation about who might be responsible for the flights, the government, a cartel, a gas company, and feared that they would never know the truth. All of a sudden, it's just going to stop and we're not going to have answers, Ms. George said. And that's very unsettling to a lot of people. It's the fear of the unknown. You're damn right. Unmanned drones, which have exploded into popular usage in recent years and can be used for everything from mapping to photography to farming, can be difficult to track. Operators of all but the smallest drones have been required to register with the federal government since 2015, but there's no straightforward legal way for state and local officials to identify the owner of a particular drone or to track that drone's location. Like in many other areas of drone regulation, the statutory and regulatory framework is lagging that technology, said Reggie Govan, a former chief counsel to the FAA who now teaches at the University of Pennsylvania Law School. It's just that simple. Mr. Govan said that federal officials had tracking tools to figure out where the Colorado and Nebraska drones were coming from, but that the vast area over which the drones were operating could make that task difficult. Limitation in drone detection has allowed rogue drone operators to approach the White House without raising alarms, and in another extreme case, to deploy homemade bombs in a Pennsylvania neighborhood. See, Dave? Deploying homemade bombs.
Yeah, but that's the morons behind them, not the machines themselves.
It could be the machines. Maybe they've gained sentience, Dave.
Maybe.
Think about it. Though it was not clear.
You live in a dark, creepy little world. That's all I got to say.
I've seen it. I've seen the future.
Okay.
Like
I've seen the future, baby.
Though it was not clear that the drones flying over Colorado and Nebraska were violating the law, residents and local officials say they would welcome the proposed new FAA rule that would make it easier to identify drones. Most people are very reasonable, and they say it would be somebody could be somebody mapping or doing topography, said Michael Yowell, a sheriff's captain in Lincoln County, Colorado, whose house was buzzed over by a drone squadron on New Year's Eve. A drone squadron, Dave! Not just one or two. It's a squadron now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But you can't rule out what you don't know, he went on to say. The drone sightings started in northeast Colorado around mid-December and have only grown more widespread since then. Almost all the sightings have occurred between sunset and about 10 p.m., though Ms. Blackman said she had seen them out later one night in Nebraska, and for the first time on Wednesday during daylight hours. She said she looked at them through binoculars and did not see any markings, just plain silver and white coloring. Across the state line in Colorado, Captain Yowell tried to photograph the drones on Tuesday night with the camera he uses to document crime scenes, but came away without a clear image. He estimated that up to 30 drones were flying each night, though not all in the same place. He said local officials were studying the flight path of the drones and coordinating across county lines to figure out where they were coming from. If his analysis was correct, he said the drones would be back out on Wednesday night, flying in a grid pattern in the rural area between Hugo and Carville, Colorado, about 100 miles southeast of Denver. We want to know at around 10 o'clock, when we start to lose visuals of these, which direction are they homing, which way are they heading, Captain Yowell said. We hope that's how we can contact somebody on the ground. Sheriff Todd Combs of Yuma County, Colorado, said in a Facebook post on Tuesday that the drones appear to be staying at least 150 feet away from buildings or people based on the footage that he had seen. There are many theories about what is going on, but at this point, that's all they are, he said. I think we're feeling a little bit vulnerable to the intrusion of our privacy that we enjoy in our rural community, but I don't have a solution. I have a solution, Dave. I got one big solution. Are you ready for this? scatter some F-15s out there with some missiles and fire the little shits down. Boom, 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 boom.
Wow, if there are any drones listening, you could just fly by Tim's house. 314. What?
Dave. Don't.
Well, I just figured that way they could line up for you to shoot them down.
Don't give them little sons of bitches my address. Don't you do that. I want the advantage. I want the advantage of surprise because I'm going to sneak up on them like Elmer Fudd with my shotgun, and I'm going to take them all out one by one.
Shh, be very, very quiet. I'm hunting automatons.
I'm hunting
all right,
dwarves.
That's it, Sid. We're done. We gave you a little extra. Look at that, a little over 2 hours today. Why? Because we love you, and it's a new year, so let's start it off in abundance. We'll be back Tuesday. We've got a great show lined up for you, True Crime Tuesday, but we'll be back tomorrow as well. But True Crime Tuesday, Tim, that's coming up Tuesday, and we've got a hell of a show lined up for you. Monique Faison Ross will join us. We're going to talk about her book, which is really creepy, and I think everybody's going to enjoy this story, Playing Dead, a memoir of terror and survival. Monique Faison Ross, that's our True Crime Tuesday guest. How do you subscribe? Go check out darknessradio.com. It'll show you how you can subscribe and listen along. We'll be back tomorrow. Little green men, Tim. There be monsters about. We're going to hear the real story of what took place in Kelly, Kentucky from a surviving family member of that strange alien shootout. For Tim Dennis, I'm Dave Schrader. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you again back here tomorrow with more of the best in paranormal talk radio. I'm Dave. That's Tim. This is Beyond the Darkness.